Hello, everybody. It's Mark McNamara at The Value Shift, your content strategist. You know, the last couple of years, the term consumerization of IT really hit the blogosphere. It was talking about the trend of how the cloud, and particularly the ability to bring your own device to work, really changed the requirements in the approach of most IT organizations and had them rethinking their strategies. This really turned things upside down for them in terms of how they looked at security and how they moved information across the enterprise to make things convenient for those who needed to interact with it and deliver and share messages. What's interesting is how this movement continues to grow and will continue to change. One fundamental thing is the amount of devices that are starting to impact the way that organizations can see and move data around. Not only if you look at the tablet and the history of the smartphone and all of this, new devices are starting to change things as well, not only on a consumer side, but also on the enterprise. It's the Internet of everything. Look at what's happening. We've got exercise devices, cars now communicating with us regularly. Watches are coming, of course, GPS, and fixtures will all impact the way that we communicate. I find it fascinating. Actually, a recent ad by Computer Associates in Wired Magazine is changing the term. It's not just consumerization of IT, but it's consumerization of the enterprise. It's really about the need for organizations to effectively change the way they accommodate not only their customers, but the workforce as well. The trends are clear in how this has shaped worker expectations of how they want to be empowered to do their jobs, and the need to communicate and obtain knowledge differently. Social media, video, and the smartphone has completely turned upside down the way we think about sharing information and consuming information. With this in mind, I'd like to suggest a modification of the term, and I'm calling it the consumerization of content. What's happened on the consumer side now needs to happen for businesses. Think about it. New delivery models have changed the way content wants to be consumed, shared, and made better. What's happening is we now have the social just-in-time generation moving up through the workforce. And to be successful, organizations need a whole new approach to information sharing and training. It can no longer be a ground-up monolithic approach. Businesses need to look at the lessons of social communities and content curation. Out in the marketplace, these methods are really powerful and can be efficient. They need to embrace these methods to source information, but more importantly, turning it into meaningful content, or what might be suggested as memes, images and short-form content that make the consumer of it feel and think a certain way. These concepts and ideas will spread from person to person and will provide efficiencies that organizations haven't seen to date. These memes will be required to move your work culture forward and will be critical to all manner of recruiting and motivating your workforce. This content needs to be meaningful, visually stimulating information that workers want to consume and, more importantly, share. You know, the 6-second rule doesn't just apply to what falls on the floor before you eat it. But have you captured the attention of your employees with stimulating, fun content that has meaning to them? You know, a couple of quick stats as to why this trend has hit so hard. 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual, and visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text. Think about that. And studies have shown that the average modern adult attention span has reached a point of just being somewhere between 2.8 and 8 seconds. That's not a lot of time to capture attention and deliver important information to people. The key to this is short-form visual storytelling. To recruit, train, and inform the modern workforce requires a strategy of show and don't tell. I posit that we've moved into the age of modern hieroglyphics. Now, this poses a problem for organizations, as they are woefully unprepared to deal with this. ATD, formerly ASTD, recently published the results of a study involving 826 businesses. The report reveals that less than half of the organizations they surveyed have information and training functions that excel at accomplishing the very things they exist to do. Only 38% declared their resources as highly effective at achieving organizational goals. The real problem is how to take advantage of all this consumerization and what it has to offer and harness it in the right way. A solution that brings the true power of these empowering technologies, social platforms with the ability for self-generated content, along with governance required to create an effective ecosystem. It requires focus. I'd say for answers, look to examples from those who've been on this journey with the direct consumer for some time, mainly the electronic publishers who have morphed into the modern media outlets, newspapers, magazines, and broadcasters who've transformed themselves into the new web property and have embraced the power by applying rules and standards to ensure quality and maintain integrity. So the message? Organizations need to embrace the lessons of media and put a strategy in place that allows them to be methodical publishers of meaningful, impactful content. A strategy for creating, managing, delivering, and tracking this important information. Without it, they will not deliver on the expectations being set by the workforce and will find it hard to compete. Hey, if you or someone you know in your organization is interested in discussing a content strategy, go to our website, www.thevalueshift.com. There you can request a no-obligation consult with one of our strategists. We look forward to hearing from you. Again, thanks for listening. This has been Mark McNamara at The Value Shift, your content strategist.